guests today are seeing each other for the first time in 2 years. Why? Well, they're in the middle of a pretty bad family feud. Meet the Mitchells, Mark and his second wife, Nancy. And this is Mabel, the mother-in-law, Mark's mom. Now, apparently these people have been fighting for 5 years. Nancy is furious with Mabel because Mabel is still friends with Mark's ex-wife. She also says that Mabel is conniving, two-faced, and that she's the cause of their marital problems. Mabel says Nancy is just jealous of her son's first wife. She also feels that Nancy forced her son into marriage. This is not a good setup. Mark, he's the man in the middle. He says he's torn between these two women. He says probably his mother's at fault, but he wishes his wife were more understanding. Nancy, we're going to start with you. Why haven't you seen your mother-in-law in 2 years?
My husband hasn't forced me to go because when we go, there are fights among ourselves and the children get upset. When we go home, we fight about it for months.
What happens that causes this kind of fight, or what did happen before the 2 years?
His mother always brings up topics like the children say this, the children aren't being treated right, you aren't their mother, they need to see their mother, things along that line. Subjects we ask her not to concern herself with.
Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
You think it's true. That's two now. What about you, mother-in-law?
Well, I love Nancy to death. I just said, only thing I say that the kids need to see their mom. It's no reason why Mark and his ex-wife can't talk on the phone about the children.
But it's not up to my mother. It's not her responsibility to fulfill my ex-wife's responsibilities.
You feel closer to the first wife?
No, I do not.
You do not feel closer?
She feels sorry or guilty for the first wife, that she doesn't have custody of the kids.
Although his first wife doesn't call the kids, she has no, I mean, our kids don't even care if they see her. They don't mention her name. When they're with her, they come home upset. She calls them when she's had a little bit too much to drink, when she's depressed. When her life isn't going good, she calls my children and gets them upset.
Well, why
and
would
it's
you...
not all the time. It's maybe once a year. Maybe she saw a show on TV, got her depressed about something. Maybe she went out and got drunk. Who knows? But then the phone call comes.
So why would you want Mabel, them, to make a point of bringing the children over there? Do you feel that the first wife is not seeing enough of her children?
Well, she can't call because Mark told her not to call anymore.
Right. This past January I did because I'd had it. You know, if she couldn't take the responsibility to call the kids once a week, once every other week, you know what I'm saying?
Then you didn't want her to call
Birthdays, holidays, or Christmas, or anything. Why bother? Once a year.
The only time she called is when she was depressed and she needed a friend, and she would talk to our daughter. She never asked for our son on the phone either.
How old are the children?
13 and 9.
Mabel, you're shaking your head. What was that about?
Well, that's not true. At first, Wanda called.
Wanda's the name of the first wife?
They were all talking together at that time, Nancy and Mark, and they all were talking. But they get in arguments about some money Nancy, she was supposed to help Nancy pay a doctor bill or something. After that, I don't think her
Right.
Nancy
We had to
talked
put
anymore.
Christine in counseling, and it was $100 an hour, and well, we just can't afford that.
So you
and
wanted
we
the
asked
mother
for
to pay.
help.
She agreed, and then she didn't, and we got stuck with the bill.
And try to look for some solutions. Joining us is a lady who's very good at that, Dr. Gwendolyn Goldsby Grant. She is the advice columnist for Essence magazine, in case you recognize the name, and she has been with us before. I'm going to ask Dr. Grant to just hold on for a moment and see what the reaction of people is, and then we'll have you comment.
I feel that in the grandmother's seat, be grandma, let mommy and daddy be mommy and daddy.
Okay.
It's so interesting, Sally. What he was talking about in psychology is role clarification. Good for you.
He gets an A in psychology.
Yes.
I would just like to say if the children are the top priority here and there's certain relatives that you would like them to see and certain relatives that they want to visit with, why don't you have your mother come visit you since you live in another part of town, another state, or have those relatives come visit instead of sending them somewhere where they might be subjected to some things that you don't want them to
We've
experience.
asked. We've offered her train tickets. We've offered to go pick her up, and his mother won't come.
But what about the other relatives?
Well, let's find out why she...
They come.
want to see?
Let's find out
We've been
why...
in Delaware 4 years, and this was the first year that...
Mabel, they've
my sisters.
invited you, they've given you train tickets. This lady has a good suggestion. Why don't you want to go and visit them?
Because I don't like to travel.
Okay. Even to see the grandchildren.
I don't really.
Okay, I feel that the grandmother should stay out and let the two people try to progress with their own family, because I had the situation like that with my mother-in-law, and I just had to tell her, look, you know, you get back and let me and my husband deal with what we had to take care of, because mothers-in-law have a problem. For some reason, they like the first wives or the first girlfriends, and that is, you know, the man can't think, and it is a lot of pressure on a man, just like it's a lot of pressure on the woman. And stuff, and two people got to compromise. So I suggest that the grandmother stay out and let them visit whatever and let them do whatever they have to do with their own kids.
Let's ask, good point. Let's ask Dr. Grant. Dr. Grant, let's talk to me about the mother-in-law problem. In history and in the comic strips, mother-in-laws are the enemy.
Yes, the mother-in-law jokes. And a lot of that, there is more truth to that than fiction, by the way, concerning mother-in-laws. But what happens is that mother-in-laws criticize, but everybody criticizes, right? But mother-in-laws tend to criticize as if it were an indisputable fact. Therein causes all of the disruption, okay? And that is what's happening in this family. What families do, families always fight by
Roof at the same time. These are 4 of the Rivera sisters, Jenny, Liz, Becky, and Luis. They say ever since their mother died, which by the way was 19 years ago, they just haven't gotten along. If you ask them why they blame it on one sister and one sister only, they will say because she's at fault. So Jenny, you start. Why does everybody blame it on one sister?
Well, I think this is my opinion. There is 6 different opinions, but my opinion is it is coming from one particular source more so than all the others.
Who is the problem?
Becky.
Becky? Okay. We have 4 sisters, just so those of you at home will know. We have 4 sisters here with us on home base, and we have 2 in the audience. Why is it, Becky? All you can do is look at me, don't look at them, and tell me your side of the story. What's wrong?
Well, she's great when she doesn't drink, but when she starts drinking like everybody else, they get a little bit, you know, out of line.
And what has she done that's
She
wrong?
does a lot of things to hurt us, especially my baby sister, because she's basically with her all the time.
She
and I think
hurts the baby sister. Who is the baby?
Louise.
Louise?
Yeah.
Does Becky hurt you?
No, I guess that's the way she sees it. I see it totally different. If it was like that, I wouldn't be living next to her.
Weren't you hurt last night?
Yeah.
Weren't you crying last night? Like,
It was
On the corner of the street, right in the corner of the street.
and what would you think? What did she do this to me for? Huh? Weren't you hurt last night, Louise?
we did have a spat, okay? We did.
Louise, it was
Yes.
worse
Can you
than
tell
that.
me, your name is?
Liz. The
Liz,
oldest.
what happened last night?
Oh, well, it was always like a little misunderstanding, like always, and it becomes big, like any argument.
Not a little misunderstanding because it's been going on for so many years.
What has?
Well, when Becky drinks or whatever, you know, she gets possessive and she wants attention, and she gets it from Louise. She used to get it from me years ago.
From me.
But eventually you get tired of being used like that, you know?
So what happened last night? Could you just sort
Oh,
of...
boy, it's a long story. I know that Becky got her ways, and she stayed behind, and she started getting cranky. And I'm going back to Miami, and this and that. Then Luis was crying in the corner. Then Becky was taken back to the hotel by Michael. And this was going on.
But she didn't want to be with us because I guess she wanted to get all the attention last night. And that happens every time she gets with a little bit of alcohol in her system. Let me tell you, we all love each other dearly. This is not something that we want to hurt each other. It's just that it's going too far already. And
But everything is going on her. Don't we have our spats ourselves?
yes, we all do. We always have spats, but it gets a
everything
little
is
bit
been-
out of line.
But we don't overdo it, Luis. You know, we
But
just
everything
don't,
is pinpointed
don't
to
use
her
some,
now,
we don't
though.
use something just to
See,
say,
that-
I'm doing it because I'm drunk or I'm whatever. No, we don't. It's not that way, Luis.
But
You
she
see,
has,
that was
she
because it's
really hurts
different.
people, you know, she really hurts people, especially emotionally.
All right,
And
you think it's Becky's fault. Table that thought. Jenny, you can only invite one sister at a time for dinner.
That's true.
So what?
That's true, because when I invite Becky, I can't invite Liz because
Oh,
they
I
don't want to
see.
be in the same place.
Okay.
Or when I invite, you know, I always got to have a different time to have them around the house because none of them want to be together. And that's the truth.
Can you hear it? They're all fulfilling these roles that they have designed for one another. She's the troublemaker. This one is the peacemaker. This one is the maker. And this one stands by and watches. It's kind of a roles that they design for one another. And one of the things I want to say and clarify here, no one person causes trouble within the family. Okay?
Not even Becky?
Not even Becky.
All right, well, let's find out what our audience thinks.
No one person is responsible.
Just one other question. Liz? Liz?
Me.
Louise, I've been told no one likes your boyfriend.
My boyfriend? No one? I do. You like my boyfriend?
Do you like her boyfriend?
This is where the problem starts. No, it's easy when the problem starts, Rebecca. You know why they say that I'm a troublemaker?